Yes, people. It's Cass, your host, doing the most as always, joined by JSM. If people don't know him, you're going to know today anyways. And I don't know why he's celebrating like his club got a flipping win last night, but, you know, he's here to gas it up. And who better to battle him other than Dowell to have a bit of a discussion of this so-called tactical masterclass, defensive masterclass by Mikel Arteta himself. And then obviously there's me and Lewis. Everyone's got their team tops on. Jules is going to be here. Don't you worry. You know what? As I always do, we're just going to stick, let's just stick specs there while we're smoking any sorrows in Newcastle, just to fill in for the time being. But yeah, look, me and Lewis are in the bin. I think Lewis, you're more in the bin. I don't know how
you're in the mud. I'm in quicksand.
Yeah, that's probably the better way to say it, isn't it? Quicksand. Yeah. Are you still in 11th?
Yep. Death taxes and somewhere between 10th and 11th. Maybe next week we'll get up to the first page of the Premier League. But for now, we can't beat a 19th place Burnley team without a manager. Down to 10 men. We're scrubbed.
My team might have produced one of the top 3 worst performances under Ten Hag. There's the 7-0. Then there's am I missing one? Which one? Anyone got any on the top of their heads?
There's another Ten Hag battle.
There was another
Brentford 4-0.
Brentford at the start of the season, and then Brentford there again. He's just get him out, man. That fake one.
Don't worry, we'll be here to save your season on Thursday. Don't worry, man.
Lewis, that's what I'm more than confident about. Don't you worry. But yeah, man, everyone's here. Please smash the like button. Likes are very important. It helps the algorithm. You know how it goes. So if you're hearing this back, even if you're not watching it live, you know what to do. And also support the boys. It's all there in the description below their channels as well. But yeah, man, Dawood, I'm going to start with you before George comes and wants to rain on the parade, because I'm pretty sure he's a Tottenham supporter, so he's not going to. So all I've seen, by the way, from yesterday is a lot of scrutiny on Arsenal and not enough on City. So I hope JSM or Jay, anyways, can have a little bit of a balance. But what are you saying about yesterday, man? Are you actually happy? Because the tone of your voice on your own video told me everything I needed to know. The one, yes, yeah. You shameless bastard. You know that.
Why?
I saw your Instagram
about the tactical masterclass. All I want to say is one thing. I saw a stat today, which is crazy. Yeah, and it said, let me just check it out. So it says that Mikel Arteta is the first manager in Premier League history to be unbeaten against Liverpool and Man City in the same season.
Mm-hmm.
The same season. So,
wait, what?
Yeah, Mikel Arteta is the first manager in Premier League history to complete a single season unbeaten against Pep Gvardiola's Man City and Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool.
Oh, okay, forget it.
Yeah.
I thought you meant in general. I was going to say, no way.
No. Cool. Yeah, against Pep and Klopp in the same season. Okay, so we've got 4 points against Liverpool, 4 points against Man City. People say we packed the bus against Man City yesterday. I said in my video, we didn't pack the bus. We were in a defensive transition to get in attacking positions. I don't know why you're laughing. We had a structured lineup where we looked.
Come on, man.
Oh my god. Wait.
I can't tell if you're being real.
I'm actually being real. We were.
Do you know what this is? You know what it is? You guys don't want to admit that you've become what you guys were cussing us out for when we were top of the league. Because I remember a very familiar game where we went to the Emirates in 2015 and we parked the bus and took a 0-0. Everyone's calling us boring Chelsea and all of that bit. It was a massive point on the way towards winning the title. And in a tough ground like the Emirates at that time, because you were in form, we had to go and defend. Now, you guys are going for a title and you're doing the exact same thing. And I'm not going to say you guys played negative football or anything. I get it. You went to the Etihad, a place where you got battered last season, and you were pragmatic because you needed to be. But let's not pretend it was anything other than you lot parking the bus and being pragmatic, because that's what it was.
The difference is Odegaard and Saliba got interviewed after the game, and then the guy said to them, "What was your instruction to defend before the game started?" They said, "No, our instruction was to attack, to play high line, but the way the game was going, we had to nullify Man City's attack because Bernardo Silva was kind of cooking Jakub Kiwior left back, so Gabriel Jesus had to double team on him, and Gvardiol at left back was actually Man City's biggest threat in the first half. So Bukayo Saka had to help out Ben White on that left hand side. So it was that kind of situation where Man City were going all out in the first half, and we had to nullify their attack. And they only had one shot on target the whole game. So it just shows how good our defense is. And I've been saying, I'm not sure if I said in your stream, but I said in another stream that we were going to keep a clean sheet. I think I said it in your stream, Kaz. I said we're going to keep a clean sheet at the Etihad. And people are laughing, saying, "How's Man City not going to score?" Yeah, when Nobbins and
you're right.
I said Arsenal going to keep a clean sheet, and the Man City fans were laughing. We score every single whole game. How are you going to keep a clean sheet? I said, look at our defense. We've got the best defense in the league. I probably say we've got the best defense in Europe this season. So we nullify teams. Erling Haaland hasn't had a single shot on target against us in 3 games: the Community Shield final, Premier League, at home and away.
That's crazy.
So we've nullified Erling Haaland. Kevin De Bruyne was nullified by Declan Rice. So if the way we perform now, where we're keeping clean sheets away from home and where we can score at home, I think our biggest threat, just going off this game, our biggest threat is winning the Champions League, I think. Because you can go in these kind of games where if you can win 1-0, 2-0 at home and keep a clean sheet away from home, that is a massive threat. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do that in the Premier League, because drawing games is basically a loss for me, in my eyes. If you draw too many games, Liverpool and Man City, they don't draw that many games. So
you know what's mad though, Dawood, yeah? Even Jay, like we talk, like, you know what is, I hear that you made progress. This is the only part that I can think of anyways. You made progress on making, I don't know, against the bigger sides, you're playing a lot better. But you look at Liverpool, and I think like out of the top 3 that are in the race at this moment, I think they've got, if not the worst record against the top 6, you could say the top 6, and yet they sit top of the league. And they've got the easiest fixture, like the easiest run, in it. And that's the way I look at it. It's just, you lot are just not allowing Liverpool to run away with it. Jay, if you allow Liverpool to run away with it and that all, I'm never going to forgive you.
Why? Because they'll equal your 20.
Yeah. And I just don't want them winning a single trophy. What did you make of the game anyways, Jay? You said Gvardiol was your biggest threat. I have to kind of agree. Down at left-hand side, he was looking like one of your better players. It was weird because I looked into like formations, I looked into tactics and all this stuff, positional games. He was very, very narrow to the point where De Bruyne was a lot further than Haaland at times.
I was a bit skeptical about Gvardiol playing left back. I think Ake would have been better in that position because we signed him as a centre back and he's still not played there. But he was the best player on the pitch. Bar Akanji, I thought, was excellent as well. And in the first half, he really got forward, gave Arsenal's right hand side a bit of a worry. He put Saka on his backside, which looked great. But I thought City weren't good enough. We didn't do enough to score, and unfortunately, that's been the story against the top sides this year. I think we've actually got the worst record against the big 6 than Liverpool have, because Liverpool have beaten Aston Villa at home. They haven't gone to Villa Park yet. We've only beaten you guys home and away, Cass. We haven't beaten anybody else.
Yeah, you've drawn to Chelsea. You've drawn to
twice.
Yeah, you have
lost to Arsenal, drew to Tottenham. We beat every single big team at home last year. We only lost to Brentford and we only drew to Everton. The rest games in Europe and in the Prem and in the FA Cup, we've won. We haven't beaten any other than United of the top 6 at home. And it's
that's not that hard these days, is it?
Well, we couldn't beat Chelsea. Chelsea played really well home and away against us. I'm sure you'd be happy with those performances, Lewis, unlike Saturday.
Yeah. So, though, I think we bottled the game at the Etihad, personally. But, yeah, in terms of performances, yeah.
But wouldn't you not say that, like, is it a bit of a worry for you? Or that you haven't really been up to your scratch in these kind of games? Because yesterday, I think there was obviously a massive row from both sides. Not really many people said it was going to be a draw. It was either you're going to get smashed or you're going to get smashed. Either way, it's like when it comes down to breaking teams this season, you lot have been, I'm not going to lie, from the view of my eye, it doesn't look as great unless it's the Champions League. Do you get what I mean? Like the Premier League. And maybe this is from my experience anyways, from what I remember, obviously as a young kid anyways, when you do the three-peat or, especially a three-peat, winning 3 leagues in a row, it's going to be hard to win that 4th. So is it really all doom and gloom?
It's not doom and gloom. It's just a bit. Last season, we beat everybody at home. We got draws away from home when we needed to. yes, we got beat at Anfield, but we always do, and probably everybody does. But this season just hasn't been good enough, especially at the Etihad, where we should be beating everybody to try and that's where our points. If we beat everybody at the Etihad and turn those draws into wins, we'd be top of the league. And as negative Arsenal were yesterday, they came with a game plan, they executed it well, and frustrated us, and they got their draw. So
I wonder if George is going to give them any credit for setting up defensively yesterday and actually getting a point at the Etihad. I do wonder, because you know what? Why I say Arteta kind of deserves credit is because if it's another manager, like Liverpool fans, they got a point at the Etihad. They were screaming for that. They were loving it. If Jose Mourinho done it, they'll be saying that's a defensive masterclass. It's typical Mourinho. If Diego Simeone went there, they'll be like, yeah, that's a hard city, Atletico to break down. But when it comes to Arsenal, I know it's a different situation because they went to go win a league. Is it really the worst point, George?
I mean, the way that I look at it, then obviously, look, there's context and there's different ways to look at it. So I'm not going to be mad at anyone for praising Arteta and focusing solely on his defensive performance from the Arsenal team. Look, the way that I look at it, I give it context. Arsenal went to the Etihad, the point, one that they haven't had too much they haven't had too much results at the Etihad in general. They don't really get a draw, let alone a win. So a draw is big to them. But then you also have to look at the fact that Man City had a few key defenders missing in Walkers and Stones. They haven't. KdB is just coming back from his second injury, and again hasn't really looked the same since coming back from that second injury. Been a bit, up and down, and we saw that with the performance yesterday. So I looked at this game as an opportunity for Arsenal to build upon their lead at the top of the table, as well as they're the second. We've been told time and time again. You've been one to say, Castor, they've been the best team in the league performance-wise this season. Consistently.
Yeah.
And across like the 29-game period of games that we've had so far, a lot of people would agree, and I don't think it's wrong in saying that Arsenal have been the best team. So it's not mad to think that Arsenal, going into this game, we expect and put the expectation that Arsenal need to go and do the job on City here. It's one of the first times they're going to get that Man City are below them in the league. They're going to them and they're missing a few players. Take the opportunity and take the game to City. Obviously, that didn't happen. Arteta went very pragmatic, focused solely on the defensive performance. And props to him and props, like you said, to the defensive display. They were very resolute and they maintained Man City not creating any good chances. The only shot on target they had was the Ake flick on the header, which was, again, it's just a lucky shot on target. And that's 2 games that they've gone and played City and managed to hold them out. So credit to Arsenal's defense. Look, you heard me, Cass. I said credit to Arsenal's defense, before someone comes back and starts going mad about Jordan's waffling. But I look at their attack. I look at their midfield. Going forward on the ball, the attacking display was atrocious from Arsenal. It was woeful. Like they literally had 1 or 2 chances. I look at Jesus and they were half chances, but Jesus got to do better there. Got to at least get a shot on target. And then you look at the chance where Trossard was through on goal. Should have squared it to Martinelli. I feel like sometimes moments get too big for these players, even Saka, and they just literally disappear. They're like shells of themselves. And yesterday, I looked at that front line. I looked at Saka. I looked at Jesus. I looked at Havertz. I said, look, defensively, they're all putting in work. They're putting in a shift and they're doing good for the team. But going forward, they offered Arsenal nothing. And they are the reason why Arsenal never scored or never even threatened City enough to think that this was ever going to go the other way. So look, but going forward, they were really bad. City, on the other hand, were just poor as well. I think City were absolutely poor. Most of their team didn't really turn up. Defensively, again, look, it was okay. They didn't have to deal with much of a threat. The midfield, I think Rodri done his role very, very well, winning the ball back, recycling the play. And when Rico Lewis come on, he was a bright spark. But Man City, I just looked at KdB, Foden, and again, 2 players that just disappeared yesterday. Every time they was on the ball, nothing happened. It was just one of the worst games I've seen from the 2 top sides. Similar to the last game they played, it seems like whenever City and Arsenal come up against each other recently, this rivalry is too friendly. It's all about the highs, the happies, the smiles. Arteta, you saw him pre-game, like going up to the whole City bench. You're right, mate. You're right, mate. Like, these are your rivals. No. These are your title rivals. Show some fearsome. Like, show them, look, there's no respect today. We're not friends today. Look, later on after the game, they can do hugs and everything. But prior to the game, show no love. There's no love in this game. And when it comes to trophies, you've got to show that side. So, look, I think Arsenal were missing that ruthlessness. So was City. And it was just a boring game.
One before you talk about the friendliness, Kaz, before you move on, when you mention the friendliness, there's more friendliness between Man City and Liverpool than Arsenal. You see Jurgen
Maybe.
Klopp and you see Pep hugging and kissing each other after every game. You saw last season Kevin De Bruyne pushing Arteta on the touchline. You saw at the Etihad last season Ben White and the Phil Foden beefing after the game. You saw Gabriel Magalhaes and Erling Haaland. Gabriel Magalhaes made a living hell for Erling Haaland during the whole game. So it wasn't one of those games where Man City had it nice and easy and we let them pass the ball around. Every time they got near our box in our half, we stopped them from playing. We were too strong for them. We were too fast for them. There's one moment when they were in a quick transition when Kevin De Bruyne got the ball and he was running down the channel. Declan Rice comes out of nowhere, gets the ball off him. We've got athletes now in our team where we can nullify Man City. Before we used to get bullied. Last season, we tried to play man for man against Man City with Rob Holding at the back and with Zinchenko at left back. You cannot do that. Okay? Now we've got Kiwior and Saliba. Like, you're comparing, some elite athletes to players like Holding and Zinchenko. This season, there's a reason why we haven't lost against any of the top 6 teams, like the traditional top 6 teams. It's because we've got actual athletes in our team and we've got players that it wasn't because Man City were playing poor. It's because of how good we were when it comes to defensively.
But the thing is, Dawood, is that's the thing that fans do wrong sometimes is you feel like, oh, City weren't poor, so that means we were really good. And you're trying to focus on, no, City were poor. You were good defensively, but City were very poor. No player in that City, like you look at KdB yesterday, from the first minute, he was missing passes. The easy 1-2s that he usually gets off, he was missing those. They kept missing those final passes, and that's where it was going wrong. Again, Foden, in the 1v1, usually he looks confident. Obviously, he was on the left instead of the right, but usually he's confident. He looks at his man. He wants to take them on. He wants to run at them. He wasn't showing that yesterday. I feel like a lot of them were just not at the races. Bernardo Silva was probably the only one in Man City's attack I thought he's trying to create something.
Yeah, I think so.
He was cooking pure war for like the first 25, 35 minutes. But then again, like I feel like City just didn't offer nothing. When it comes to getting into that box, sort of from the 18-yard box onwards, they didn't offer nothing. They didn't try to break through your lines.
I think it was a bit of both, guys. I think Arsenal were very, very good defensively. The fact that Gabriel and Saliba were so strong. But usually, when we look at last year and how good City were against Arsenal, scoring 7 goals in the 2 games that we played against them, we had that free flow in attacking football that I think Ilkay Gundogan put together, and not replacing him was a big mistake in the transfer market from City. Kovacic is great, as you'll know, Lewis. Good player, not a Gundogan player where he's going to step up in a massive, massive moment to create something, in which Gundogan did at the Emirates. But City weren't great on the attack. The only one, like I agree with you, George, that Bernardo Silva was the only one that was getting his head down, trying to create something on that right-hand side. Because whether Kiwior did well or not, he should have been booked for that foul on Kevin De Bruyne. And then Bernardo Silva went, you know what, we're going to target him because the rest of the defense is pretty strong. So we're going to target him. That's where we were getting a bit of joy down that right-hand side. And I just think City we just didn't do enough. No balls were coming across into Haaland. Grealish was bright when he came on. But yes, Arsenal defended well, but City also played poor. It's both. It's not one.
It's been like that for a minute though. Like as in with City's attack, as much as sometimes the defense. See, I don't think the defense is so bad. Yes, you get the over the top kind of ball, Jay, but with the attack, sometimes it looks a bit too rigid. And I do believe it's true, the Gundogan, but I just feel Pep just got something wrong here again. Ever since that like Brentford game where Foden was being deployed in the middle over and like for quite a few games, he was doing that kind of Gundogan role. You know, them late runs that you just can't pick up in the box because there's too much overload going on. That's when it's like I think it's time for him to stop going out wide, especially when it's a bit rigid. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but Foden needs to be where De Bruyne is, because I like De Bruyne, don't get me wrong, but if anyone's clocked yesterday as well, people say Gabriel, they will say Saliba, but you have to look what Rice was doing. Rice pretty much done exactly. It's exactly like Arteta looked at Klopp's tactics for the game against Anfield, and all they did was push the wingers more inside, and then before you know it, it closes the gap for the ball to go. It fits into De Bruyne, and De Bruyne was in areas where Haaland is, but we never really known De Bruyne to be nippy in them sort of spaces. It's more like they're more suited for a Foden, in my opinion. I think even De Bruyne, when he went out wide in the end in the second half, his delivery was so poor as well. At the same time, it's like, why is he not getting enough onto him? Like, now there's going to be questions around KdB saying, is this the time where he starts, dropping off You know, is this his moment? Like, is he worn out? Do you get what I mean? I just thought maybe the setup was a little bit wrong. I thought Doku was quite bright, but his final ball, even though he created his chance, it's just a bit shocking. He needs refining. But even if he gets refined, you take away his best part of his game, in my opinion.
I think he's underneath the best coach in the world. I think he's got that ability. He's so explosive when he plays. I think he'd do well at Spurs, George, to be honest, like Doku. But I don't know whether he's good enough for us yet. But it took Grealish a year to embed, so I'm not going to get on his back. I think he had a couple of chances to be able to drill the ball across the box, and it's just this final ball just wasn't there in this game. But when Foden's popping up in that position, in that wide area, you're right, Cass, it is taking that man out from the midfield. But I think what City is struggling with the most is scoring goals, early goals as well. If you go back to the games at the Etihad last year, we scored against Arsenal in the 8th minute. We completely commanded that match because we were 1 goal up. They then had to come out, and it was only Tottenham last year who scored against us first in any big game at the Etihad. And that shocked us a little bit, but I think Spurs kind of caved in that day and probably on another day could have won that match, especially going 2-0 up. But City haven't got any early goals against any of the big teams at the Etihad this season, and we've only beaten United, and we went 1-0 down in that game as well. So this season, I don't know whether Pep's playing a bit more conservative and we're not battering teams. I don't know. It's going to be a tasty end to the season.
It's coming a little bit, a little bit away. You know what I mean? Like
swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
I feel like we're starting to see that like the system doesn't suit Haaland as much as people think, and he's still adapting. The City is still adapting their game to suit him because there's plenty of times in loads of games where, and I know Haaland's game isn't dropping in deep, getting involved in the build-up play and all that. That's not what he does. He's on the transition, on the last defender, making runs. But even in games like yesterday where we know you're not going to catch Arsenal in the transition. You guys have got majority of the position. Transitions, isn't much transitions to catch them out in. We need to see more from Haaland. I need to see him dropping in a bit more, making a 1-2 to, build up and make the run off a play off the edge of the box. He needs to show a bit more onus on himself to want to make something happen, because far too many times I'm hearing Man City fans make excuses that we're not creating the chances for him. We're not creating the chances for him. Yeah, you're right. You're not always going to create the chances for him. But a striker's job is to sometimes create the chance for themselves. Make the 1-2 pass that you're going to make this chance happen yourself because you want to get on the ball. Because I just saw him floating around in the box getting bullied by Gabriel and Saliba. And that's the worst thing you can do as a striker in these types of games is hang around the box waiting for, especially when balls are coming in like over the top long balls. They're coming in and he's just sitting around with the 2 centre-backs and they're just bullying him. They're literally just crowding him out. One in the front, one in the back. He's not going to get his head on it. And that's happened time and time again. And that's why there was so much failed crosses yesterday, man.
Well, that's why I say Foden's needed in there, like for them. Like Foden's like a Foden, a Gundogan or something like that gets in the box. Like I don't think KdB is going to get into them positions anymore. Yeah. This is why they need like probably a Paqueta in the summer. But obviously his betting charges came about and they're quite limited in their attack. I'll be real. Like, I'm not being funny. Having a Kovacic and a Rodri for me is like, you don't need Kovacic there. And then when John Stones is out the way he is all the time, there's no one to really come out of that position either because Akanji makes a mistake there. Rico Lewis is probably the only one that's going to do it. But even then, it's like Pep doesn't really trust him to start in week out. And then Walker somehow is starting every single game. And it's like, because he made him a promise. It's just a bit of a conundrum. But in light, they're still up there, like what? How many points are they away from Liverpool? What, 3?
3. We're 3 behind Liverpool, and
so you're waiting on. So again, you're waiting on us to do you lot a job. You're relying on Man United to do you lot a job. You know how sickening that makes me feel. Yeah, good one. That's more a job on you, to be fair. The Spurs have a part to play, but Spurs at Anfield, yeah, not for me, not for me personally.
They should have got a draw last year. And then they did draw the year before. That helped us massively.
I don't think Spurs are going to have it in the bank against Liverpool this season. Their midfield is just crazy. Like the thing is,
we almost nicked on last minute.
You know what it is though, Jordan, with Tottenham, right? Ange keeps hooking them all off at like 60th minute.
Yeah, to be honest, we'll talk about it. I don't really know what's going on with that. To be honest, I don't even know.
I want to beat Liverpool, but the likelihood of it is you just don't know, innit? It's not FA Cup or nothing like that. Because if that was to be 90 minutes the other week, then that would just been a draw. Is a draw even enough to get Liverpool out of this title race? Because we can only see them dropping maybe one game, maybe in this sort of race. I doubt you're bare quiet. You're just taking in information, man.
Yeah, I'm just listening to what you guys are trying to say, but the overall summary of the game yesterday is that we've taken, the most points out of the 3 teams challenging for the title. I think after the game, they said that we've taken 8 points. And then I think it's Man City and Liverpool have taken 3 points. So it's one of the situations where we've won our battles against the other 2 teams. And now it's just about, getting points over, Man United, Spurs and Chelsea, which I am confident. I'm confident beating Chelsea at home. I think that should be an easy game. Spurs away, I think we should win that game. Spurs look very, weak. They look very, fragile defensively. And United away, that's the second to last game of the season. So we should kind of know where the league is by then. I think the league should be, by the second to the third last game, we should probably know who's won the league. I don't think it's going to go to the last game of the season.
I disagree. I think it will go to the last game of the season because Liverpool have got Aston Villa away. You've got Man United away. That is a massive 2 games for both teams. I don't know who we've got. We've got somebody.
Game week 36 and game week 37 are some big games.
And we probably have
any team.
We have that rescheduled Tottenham game. Well, that'll be on the last week of the season. So Villa will play Liverpool. Arsenal will go to Old Trafford, and we'll go to Tottenham. So I don't think the league will be settled by then. I think that's what will settle it.
Man City games get rescheduled.
Yeah, because of the FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah, it said that it's likely to get it's been rescheduled, but they might reschedule it again. Basically, is what they're saying. It's likely.
Oh, that's crazy. And
I can't do another. Liverpool fans, they know how it feels to lose the title on the last day. I can't do that. I want the league to be decided with 3 games, 4 games left. I don't want it to be decided on the last day.
Do you mean when it's 93% of the league done? Do you mean that kind of one?
No, that's different. We lost it 5 games.
Are we going to be the goalpost for that one? Yeah.
Nah, we lost it 5 games before that. That's different. We had time to soak it in. But on the last game, Liverpool fans, they know because they've bottled it 2 times against Man City.
They didn't bottle it. We just won it.
Now they had an 8-point lead. For some reason, they couldn't win in one season.
I can't lie. I celebrated that. That Gundogan goal. I celebrated it. What? You think I give a crap? You lot must think people in this chat must know by now. I don't care. As long as they're
is that what you guys are gonna do for the next 5 to 10 years? Man City, Chelsea, and Spurs fans.
No, don't do
another team winning the league. That's all you guys do from now on.
Yep, I don't celebrate no one.
I know about George, Tottenham, because they don't win crap. So who gives a crap what they do? But all I know is football works in circles. No one stays down for too long, and that's a fact. Even in the Milan AC, they didn't stay down for too long. I mean,
all you guys do, you're praying that you don't stay down.
Your time for going down is now. That's the difference.
The only way is up.
But Chelsea can go a bit more down before they slowly go back up, I think.
Yeah.
Why would you wish that on? You know what? Fair enough. For goal rivalry is fine.
Yeah. Well, I wish it. I can't lie. I think Chelsea deserve next season maybe. You know what it is? I want you to get more hope. Yes, Chelsea, just for you to go back down again. It's just great.
Hope? No, I'm not falling for pre-season Kool-Aid again after this season.
Lewis.
I remember last year when Lewis was doing road to 40 points. I know Lewis is going to start seeing road to 40 points.
You know, we hit 40 points on Saturday.
You know, it's not even just that. Do you remember in the summer when Lewis was waiting for any transfer to come through so we can actually celebrate it because that's the only thing he could do?
Transfer kings, bruv. And then in January, we didn't even bring anybody in. Didn't even get any dopamine.
I can't lie. Well, I mean, there's one thing, Lewis. At least you're past the 40 mark at the moment. So you're not getting relegated. There you go.
Yeah, you're right.
I would have been shameless about it if it came any way other than bottling 2 leads against a 10-man Burnley with no manager.
If you win your game in hand, you go all the way to 7th.
Well, I need you to win that game in hand, to be fair.
All the way to 7th.
The game in hand.
I mean, 9th.
Let's write off them winning any game in hand.
9th.
Brother, you're one of our games in hand.
No, they are the game in hand. Tottenham are the game.
Yeah.
You both of you, Tottenham, we might get a draw because we love turning up at home against them. Arsenal, I just don't want to get battered.
I think
our game hasn't even been scheduled yet. We don't even know when we're playing Chelsea.
It'll be sometime in May.
You're 4 points behind West Ham. You play 2 less games than West Ham. So Like West Ham are 7th as well. So it's not
Yeah,
all
but
doom and gloom for
what's the
Chelsea.
likelihood of Chelsea getting 2 wins in a row these days?
I can't lie.
I've spent all season just saying I want a run of wins and then I'll be calm.
I mean,
Like
you did
the next 4
Switch.
games should have been 4 wins, and we bottled the first one to a 10-man team in 19th.
Do you know what, Lewis? Though you're unbeaten in 5, man. Take what you can get.
Yeah.
You couldn't even say that with a straight face. You
Surely
couldn't even
all
say
the
that with a
attention
straight
Lewis
face.
has got to be
Do you know
on
what
the
it is? Because I was actually here on the channel earlier in the week.
Oh,
I was
God.
defending Chelsea. I was going, you know what? I think Chelsea can push for a European place. They just they literally let everyone down time and time again. Like, there's a joke.
Mhm.
I had a howler, but Don had even worse howler.
What do you say?
Oh, he thought he changed Chelsea. He said 3rd, and then he changed it to 4th. After like how many weeks, and then before you know it, you're still in 11th.
Bruv.
Rational
I'm
says,
not going to pretend I didn't say 3rd on Saeed TV a few months ago. Although I was only taking the piss.
yeah, sure you was. Rational says, great Arsenal defense, lost more games than City. Yeah, I think City's lost.
Arsenal have lost more. We've drew more.
Oh, it sounds like draws.
Yeah, we've lost 4 games.
Arsenal are spicy. Stoke City, you dropped 4 to West Ham.
Oh my god.
They also dropped 4 to Fulham as well. So
Yeah. KJ says Arsenal hate leading this race. Leading this races. I'm seeing it.
Yeah,
What?
they're just jealous that we've actually getting better every season. I think rival fans are like shocked that Arsenal are actually improving. And before we used to have like no cojones, our defense had no spine, no backbone. And then when we start, showing a bit of authority in big games, where we don't lose anymore in big games anymore. We're not that team anymore. So it's like it's hard for rival fans to process that. I think it's hard for rival fans to.
I'm not. Look, I want you to win the league. I'm not trying to hate, but you say any more, but it's only been 1 season.
that's what I was gonna say.
But the thing is, Kaz, we don't have players for now. We've got players for the future. So our back line is 25 and under. So it's one of those situations where they haven't even hit their prime. So they're just going to keep on getting better and better and better.
But you don't know that. You keep doing if, buts, and maybes. Like, I could say, yeah, but Kobe might turn into a proper Karen Saying next season. Garnacho might turn into this. Hoyler might turn
You
into
have
that.
said all these things, though. Kat. So
No,
what's
I
wrong
haven't
with
said
what
that.
you have doing that? You have said all of these.
Next season?
You said Kobe's going to be the best coach. You said Kobe's a generational talent. You've said
Actually, to be fair, I didn't say he's generational.
You've said many things
I
along
said
the lines that Kobe's going to be the best.
But he is. But the thing is, he's definitely better than most youngsters.
You said he's the best in his age group to come out of the country. You
At
said
this
that.
moment of time, yeah.
And-
Who's
and-
better?
and
Who's
we've
better
also
at 18,
alluded to-
18 right now? Who's a better 18-year-old than him?
What in Premier League?
I'm not sitting here. I'm not even trying to argue with you about your point. I'm just saying everything that Daoud has said about his team, you've said about your team. Just
Yeah,
in
no, but
different
I mean,
lights.
next season, but it's the same thing. Who expected City to drop off against big teams when they
No,
usually?
but our sample size is 2 seasons. Your sample size is like 10 games with Kobe Mino.
It's fine.
What?
Thing is, as well, guys, with Arsenal, who have you had injured this year? Liverpool and City have had massive injuries. Haaland out
Oh,
for 3
don't do
months.
that.
Kevin De Bruyne
Don't
out
do
for
that.
3 months.
We've had injuries.
Saka's missed 1 game. And Arteta claims that 3 of his players are injured going into this game. Everybody's fit. Everyone starts other than Martinelli. Last year, you took 1 player out of your back 4 and you caved in. Saliba left that back 4. You drew to West Ham, drew to Southampton, lost to City, and caved that league in. Take Saliba out of that back 4. Arsenal go right back to where they started.
No.
And the minute that Real Madrid come in for Saliba to play next to Eder Militao, you're back where you started, in my opinion.
No. Let's not do that. Let's not do that because
City had
there's another
3
player-
of their back 4 injured yesterday.
the
and
another
we still
player you
kept
missed
clean sheet.
massive. The player that they ever mentioned that you guys might not think is an upgrade. Takehiro Tomiyasu is a wonderful defender. 1-on-1 defending. He is. I mean, we lost him last season as well. We lost Tomiyasu and Saliba last season in the last 10 games. They both got injured in the same game against Sporting Lisbon in the Europa League. So we lost 2 centre backs. Partey he lost form. So that's a 3rd player that we kind of lost because his form went out the window. After the West Ham game, his form went out the window. So now Partey has been injured basically the whole season. We've had someone like Declan Rice. So we had Declan Rice to replace Partey. We've had Kubiyo actually coming in at left back where we didn't have right-sided centre-back, where now we've got Ben White can play there, Tomiyasu can play there, Saliba can play there. We've actually upgraded our team. If Saliba gets injured or he doesn't play, I still think defensively we're still as strong because Tomiyasu is a wicked centre-back. And for me, if he can stay fit, he's one of our first choice defenders in this Arsenal team.
Is there enough sample size at Tomiyasu at centre back, by the way?
No, he plays centre back for Japan, and he can play at full back, left back, right back. Even Arteta said in interviews that he is our most complete defender because he can play in the whole back line. He can play a left back, he can play a right back, he can play a centre back, and he can still do the same job. So he's our most complete defender in the Arsenal squad. And if he stays fit,
anyone.
I think Kiwior would play there before Tomiyasu.
I think anyone. No, I don't know. Two left-footed centre backs.
He's a centre back though. That's
who
gone into that position because Timber got that injury. There we go, Timber.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more of him. That's very unfortunate that he got injured in the Community Shield and's missed all season. But it's not an excuse for City because we were so bad yesterday. But I feel like if Arsenal did get Saliba out, like Liverpool would get Van Dijk out, we saw what happened.
We'll be all right.
One player.
That's a bit like City. If you take out Rodri, your whole thing's a crumble.
I agree, but I still think that we'd be fine without Rodri to an extent. I think Rodri's such an important player. But now we saw Calvin Phillips. There's not really a replacement now for Rodri, so we would be.
Wait, like he got any game time even when Rodri was out.
I know, it's crazy.
Was it that red card against
when do we start? When do we start judging Man City's transfer? How they do their transfer from now on? Because the last three transfers has been atrocious. The last three, they haven't really replaced anyone. They've been trying to replace Rodri for the past three transfer windows. They haven't. They've been trying to they tried to replace Gundogan last transfer window with Matheus Nunes and Kovacic, which is not even an upgrade on Gundogan. And they brought in Doku to replace Riyad Mahrez. And that's still not even.
I feel like you're looking at it wrong, though, because a lot of these players they've brought in for you said it yourself, are young. You said about Arsenal not reaching their peaks yet. A lot of these Man City players aren't reaching nowhere near their peaks. And also, we've always known that with Pep, it takes at least a good season for a lot of his players to get used to the system, the way he wants. Like, the key thing is get used to how Pep wants to use a player, because players are when it's City, they don't sign players. They come in and play the position they was playing at another team and just do that, and you're going to like fit in. No, when you come to City, you come to play in Pep's team, and Pep's going to have a position for you in his head that he needs you to work, and he's going to need you to play a certain way. So likes of Doku has all the minerals to be a good player. For me, I just see decision-making and final third being one of his biggest problems. But that's something that's easily refined. Like, you can you can train a player up to get better on their decision-making. And then look at Matheus Nunes. How good was he for Wolves? You can't tell me that you don't expect this guy to reach levels and continuously get a bit better at this City team. And then, I mean, Kovacic is, you'd probably say it's not been an amazing signing, but it's not been bad. Like, he's coming to be a player of depth for that City team, and he's doing his job coming off the bench and adding to them. Obviously not replacing to the level of Gundogan and so on, but you need to give some of these players time to fit into the team, and you're going to see Man City's transfers are always good, man. Even now, like, they've got Savio coming in the next season, one of the best top youngsters in the world, coming to slot in on the left wing. They're really not going to have problems signing players in the future.
Their last five transfers haven't hit the ground running. Grealish, Doku, Matheus Nunes, Kovacic, and Calvin Phillips.
Grealish had a good season last year.
Grealish was last season. Like,
he had a, but he wasn't. He had a good end of the season, not the whole season.
He created the most chances in the City team.
He's been at City for 3 seasons and he's had 1 good season out of 3. Is that a good transfer? The
second season was good, and his third season he's had a lot of injuries this year, so he's been in and out of the team. Like, there's context, but I agree. Yeah, Grealish is probably one you can look at and say, maybe not been that great, but the Grealish move was always one that a lot of people was surprised by because he doesn't never fit into the way that City played, and he's still adapting now. Like, it just doesn't suit his style of play, and that's why I feel like he's struggled.
I agree. This should have came Man United, man.
He would have suited United way more than Man
City. Then you look at Alvarez. Look at how good he was, like, for so cheap as well.
Man City fans are, they're going for Alvarez now. They're like, we don't want to see him in the starting lineup now. I've seen a lot of Man City
don't want to see him in centre mid. They don't want to see him in centre mid. That's one.
Yeah, we don't want to see him at Cam.
He's not that guy. He never really played that, so He's more like, for me, probably the perfect kind of false nine.
He's never going to play because Haaland
I
now
think City
is
are a bit hit
injured.
and miss in the market. I do somewhat agree with you, Dal, to be fair, because this season we've missed. Like with Nunes, hasn't developed really. I think Gvardiol was a good signing, bit of a spenny signing, but still decent. Because we were missing that other like replacement centre back. If Diaz or Stones got injured, he could slide in, but he's obviously going left back. But Pep is a genius, not me. But last season, Alvarez, Haaland, and then Stefan Ortega, which has been a great second keeper addition. I think that was a great market. So it's
Ortega was good. I remember watching him even in the relegation. Armina Bielefeld. Wow, what a crap team. If it wasn't for him, they would definitely got smashed even more. But yeah, moving on a little bit from the City and the Arsenal. Let's talk about Liverpool
Let's
quick.
talk about you, Cass, man. Stop hiding from your responsibilities.
Me
Your
and
shit club
Lewis,
bottling it yet again.
Your club is shit as well, yeah. You're struggling against Luton Town.
Bottlers. You talk about bottlers. You bottled it. How do you equalize a score in the 107th minute?
Your time is coming, George. You don't understand. Your time is coming. You know your little shit spell that's coming up for you. Yeah, you're done. You're done, and that's why I say I'm not really bothered too much because I know somehow in some version, Man United they produce that against Brentford, but then they'll go beat Chelsea and somehow go get a point or win against Liverpool. With you've been shit for a minute. The only game you produce good in is the Aston Villa game. Other than that, you struggle against Palace. Last 10 minutes need something. Timo Werner pops up and whatnot. Same thing with Luton. Same thing. It's going to be the same case with Nottingham Forest. You're scraping by it, my guy. And the thing is, when
why don't you talk about your performance?
The issue, with your club, it was the same criticisms for Man United at the start. Oh, look how they just get a win at the end. Because Man United had the most from I think it's the 70th minute onwards, the most late goals. But we were getting criticised for that by probably everyone on the panel and whatnot. Yeah, because Man United will shit their way through. Right now, you're shitting your way through too. So
I feel like we'll get to the Spurs performance. Let's talk about Man United.
Big flange Postecoglou, the flipping media darling, because he wants to play a Highlander and says, mate, and that's it. What?
All right, mate. Let's talk about the Roadrunner Mount. You know, scoring his debut, not his debut. His first goal.
Don't like that.
Manchester United. No, it's definitely not his debut, man. It's been like 20 games. Obviously scoring his first goal, doing a big celebration. You know, I've arrived. Just to bottle it, and Lisandro Martinez get cooked up by Tony. This guy was sent back to Tesco, turned home. Started making his way home and still couldn't catch him. So now talk to us about your performance, because yet again you told me in the week you're going to come above Spurs. Brentford, you're going to beat them. What's happening?
I said we're going to drop one. I said we'd probably beat Brentford. I expected to beat them in a way. I said not convincing. I said 1-0.
You said
right?
you'd win.
I said out of all these 3 games, we'll probably drop one of the games. Like I reckon. I said we're definitely beating Chelsea. I'm more than confident about that crap. Right. But like I said, Aaron Wan-Bissaka's married to the offside, like the offside. Like he loves it. Anyone that's lurking back post, he's married to them. All you got to do with Man United, with Wan-Bissaka, is be a winger and just appear offside, and Wan-Bissaka's going to be right next to you. It was his fault at the end of the day. It was a smash and grab. But the same way you want to talk about, people have only just come back from injury. That's my man. He just come back from surgery. What are we doing? That's why I can't get onto him, even for the time that he did a slip. He tried to, did he try to do like an outside the boot pass and it flopped? Is that it? Is that what you're really getting onto Lisandro about? How about
I'm getting onto Lisandro for when Tony sent him. Tony sent him to Tesco, bro.
I can't.
He went to the shop.
It's not even, why do you think that one player? All the players got sent.
I'm just digging out your one player.
I told you,
one player that you expect more from.
There's been arse and cheeks, and then there's been diarrhea, and then there's something like with chronic pains. Man United's got chronic pains and diarrhea all in the same one. It's that mad. We need, what is it called? What's that little bag that's on the stomach? We got that at the moment. We're crap. It's not looking good. What's it called? A colostomy bag or something?
Could be worse.
Yeah, you're right. And that's Lewis. That's
you ain't got a real struggle until you're here. You're like,
that's the only thing I'm enjoying right now. What, like, even if you want to talk about Man United, like, don't get me wrong, I don't know who to even start with. There's the usual culprits. Scott McTominay, sourceless, goes missing. Cobby's the only one wants to play football. When he's receiving a 1-2, he's getting frustrated now and actually slating Bruno McTominay. Why the hell he didn't get the ball back? Bruno wants to play backwards. Bruno can't dribble, and people had the cheek to compare him to KdB. When at least KdB can drive the ball and beat it, man. Guy's cheeks, right? What else do you want me to say about Man United? Højlund, he just looked bare on. He just don't look sharp at all. He was crap.
Do you feel like he's been rushed was good in the game?
Who did he bring on as a sub again?
Casemiro, which I thought was I know he got the assist, but that was
Shocking.
such a rubbish change. And you
It
just
didn't make a
midfield
difference. The thing with Ten Hag, I think he's in his Ollie bag, innit? He's just playing players that he feels he can trust. I don't think they're playing for him. I think they're just playing for the moment and playing for their contracts to sign with Ineos or where it may be. That's the only thing I can think about. Because there was no reason to start McTominay in this game, in my opinion. Physically, I would have started Amrabat personally, but you don't want to give him a run again. So why'd you loan him? I don't understand it. He's not been good in moments, Amrabat, but he's got more of a brain than McTominay. And then there's Bruno. Like, don't even get me started on this guy. And then it's Ahmad. Garnacho was crap. Like, let's be real. I don't know what Garnacho, but he wants to shit the bed. But I would have put Ahmad on. He still doesn't want to put him on, even though he's produced moments better than all
What
of
is it with Ten Hag and making centre-back substitutions as well? I've always found that really strange.
So Varane was a precautionary, I think. So just in case of his ankle getting injured, so he took him off at half time. And then Lindelof pulled up.
Okay, fair enough. Because he does tend to do that quite often. And
do you know why Man United centre backs always go off? It's because the amount of blocks they have to do, because they have 30 shots at them every game. If you're having 30 shots plus every game, you have to block them. You get knackered. You have fatigue and everything. So it's like you're running, because Man United play yo-yo football. So it's like you attack, we attack. So when Man United play a high line and they're constantly running behind, these players are pulling hamstrings. So these centre backs are basically playing like box to box midfielders. Yeah. Man United centre backs. They play like box to box midfielders. So it's like they can't stay fit. So it's like
I was also looking at it like Man United. Like I saw like they had more possession than Brentford, but they generally done nothing with the ball. Like Man United generally don't have no cohesion or build up to their game. It's just
because it's never. You know what it is? If you notice with Man United, there's always a DM. And Ten Hag wants them to go further up the pitch no matter what. Like one moment is Kobe. I don't know what it is, but the space between the midfield and the defense, it's been evident all year. And he doesn't like the pivot staying as a pivot. McTominay will drive up the pitch and be lost. He looks like I don't know, man. It looks like he's lost his dad or his mum or somebody, and he needs someone to hold his hand and guide him home, or something like that. And then you got Kobe who drives up. He's trying to make a 1-2. And then there's no space in the middle because the defense doesn't get up. This is what I mean about Delo sometimes. I think Delo had an okay game, but he's like he forgot to how to play football. And I feel like Ten Hag, the way he plays, makes him, I'm sorry, but this is when it comes to the confidence part. It's like he's a bit of a pussy sometimes when it comes to it, because get up the pitch, make the angle. And the thing is with that, with like City, you see it with City, you see it with Arsenal, you see it with Spurs, you even see it with Chelsea. There's always a sideways pass to make sure you always got some sort of triangle. With us, it's just one person. The rest of them are up the pitch. It's like we play sometimes 4-1-5. That's how it feels.
Do you think that's a reflection on the manager, Cass? Because
100%.
We don't know what style of football that Man United play.
100%. He's abandoned principles. And we go over this over and over again, Jay, right? But it's just the same conversations.
Some of the excuses that he comes out with.
Yeah, it's like you're comparing to City about the struggle against the Brentford. I'm like, when?
We may have gone a goal down from Mope, and he got his little moment that he could celebrate on Twitter. But then Foden scored a hat-trick and we commanded the game. So I don't know what game he was. I don't know if we end up with more possession stats than them, like, as well. I don't even want to care about the stats for me. It's just more shots on goal. Again, you're working on Nana. Nana's playing really well at the moment. At this point, he's moving like a David De Gea with some of his saves. Like the bottom court, like we're going to ease it down. It's not even more than that. It has to be. Are we meant to believe that Man United, those players, are not better than Brentford's, the Burnleys, the Bournemouths?
It's not about being better than. I generally think.
One sec, yeah. Am I meant to believe that we haven't got better players than them? Like, just to play controlled football? Like, am I really meant to believe? He's brought in Højlund, who's not a target man, to try and play him like a target man. He's better when you're running.
Change everything, positively or negatively. We both learned that the hard way.
I don't know. All I see is no ideas, and he's waiting for new players. It's like he's waiting for speakers in his position. It makes no sense.
I've maintained the same for Man United and Arsenal. Your two biggest problems is the mental. It's the mentality. A lot of people don't like to hear it, but the amount of times that Man United go ahead in games and then they concede straight back within 3 or 4 minutes. It's happened. Cass, you can probably know better than me. It happens pretty much every other game this season. Like, you guys score a goal and then you concede. 90th minute ones are even worse because the amount of 90th minute goals that you've conceded this season, it's crazy. Probably about 6 or 7. You guys are just Like when it comes to seeing a game out, even Tottenham struggle with it. So I know just that more than anyone. But like seeing a game out is your biggest problem, because when you guys score, it's like we get jolly. Oh, we scored, like we didn't like actually expect this to happen, and then everyone just gets out of position, and then other teams just counter you guys, take advantage of it, and you end up conceding. Like it's happened in so many games, especially recently.
Especially in the last two, all you got to do is see out 2 minutes, 2 minutes, and you can't even do that.
And it was just one long ball, like one long ball.
Anyone ever play Football Manager? And you think you won it at the end, 88th minute or 90th minute?
And the biggest thing that I thought was cool, the fact that they allowed Tony to let that ball get to his feet.
Yeah.
Like, a long ball, in the end of the game, long ball, don't let the ball get to ground. Heads, everyone get your head on it. No second ball, no nothing. And they allowed Tony to touch it down.
He would have been offside. He would have been offside, but it's just like Wan-Bissaka, concentration yet again. Great defensively, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think
he's not good enough for your club, man. He's got to go.
Even as an option, I don't care if he's left back or not. How can you not see a line? That's basic Sunday league football stuff anyway. Look, Man United drew and they messed up again. Shock the world, shock whatever it is. Let's move on to Chelsea anyways, Lewis. You ain't going nowhere. You're suffering with me. No, Lewis, you're at the games. You're there present. I can't lie, yeah. That penalty. Can we talk about that penalty, please? I've seen some bad decisions this year, but that might be one of the softest decisions I've seen yet.
It's soft, but that's where football is nowadays. That sort of contact is a pen.
Soft.
Whether we agree whether it should be a pen or not is a different conversation. Like, I'm willing to have that debate, but with where football is now, you make a challenge like that, you're getting a penalty. You're getting a yellow card.
Yeah, so talk to me about the game anyways. You was there. What are you witnessing? Who played bad? I want to know who you thought played bad. Like who was the culprits today? Because it's a new name every week. If it's not, it's the same one. So
look, as much as I want to criticize Pochettino, I'm going to criticize him because yet again we failed to break down a low block. Yet again we're crap at set pieces defensively and defensively. Yet again we look unstructured as hell. But it's a 19th place Burnley, down to 10 men for an entire half. As much as I have all of those problems with the managers, I mean, do you need your handheld for this game? Really? You don't. So, like, a couple of these players, they need to hold the smoke as well. First off, Conor Gallagher, like, probably the most overrated player at our football club. Everyone will say, like, he's our best midfielder and everything because he's the one we didn't play 100 million for. No, that guy stinks. Here's a few stats for you with Gallagher. My number 10 registered 5 forward passes the entire match. 5 forward passes. His most regular pass was to Gvardiol, my centre-back. He is the number 10. This guy had both centre-backs make more passes in the attacking third than he did. A big reason why we couldn't progress the ball forward was because when we have the ball in the midfield, where is my number 10? He's at DM. He's at left wing. He's at right wing. He's in everywhere but his position. So that's on him for a big part of it. Jackson, Mudryk, they were both good in the first half and then just disappeared in the second half. Disasi and Gvardiol looked shook all game and like aerially the pair of them struggled. Gusto struggled at the start, grew into the game. Now I'm just praying he's not injured because if he's out, then our season is finished.
Wait. Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, he pulled up with a hammy in the 80th minute. I was like, here we go.
I'll take that.
Here we go.
I'll take that.
Disasi or Chalobah, or I don't know. We might have one of them get injured in the next few days as well. But it was only really Palmer, Caicedo, and to a point Enzo that played well. Bar that, Cucurella as well maybe, but bar that, no one was good enough. Nobody was good enough.
Can we get one thing straight? Can we all agree? Your most overrated players in Gallagher, it's definitely Enzo Fernandez.
Depends on who you're talking to with him.
I think it's Enzo Fernandez. Jay and Dawood, yeah, aka David. How did you lot drop points to this team?
Oh, I don't want to talk about it.
No, Jay, please talk about it. How did you actually drop points twice to this team?
We got 4 goals. They were good. And they were good at the Etihad and should have won. Probably should have won.
You should have
Either
won both
way,
games, to be
we're
honest.
so
You got a
bad.
dodgy penalty at the bridge.
Yeah, you should have had a penalty from the Walker foul as well, and that would have put you in the lead before Rodri scored. That would have got you 4-3 up before Palmer equalised. Oh, we've had some stinkers against the.
It just makes you. It just makes you think. If you won those games, which you should have, typically you do at the Etihad.
I'm worried for the semi-final. Two dodgy ass games against Chelsea. This is their game to go. Oh well, we should have beaten City. Let's beat them this time.
All I'll say with you guys is, I am praying, I am begging that your second leg against Madrid goes to extra time. That's the only way we got a bit of hope. I need that game to get dragged
I'm not
out.
complaining, but why is the United Coventry game on the Sunday when both of them are not playing midweek and we're playing Wednesday and then we've got to play on the Saturday? It's not an excuse. Chelsea will be rubbing their ass.
No, I understand it though. Wednesday to Saturday, especially playing Real Madrid, it's like didn't need to do that.
Why not? What's wrong with that?
Yeah,
they're probably just trying to make it a bit more even for us because we are getting absolutely battered when we step onto that Wembley pitch. Our manager thinks it's an achievement just getting to Wembley, not winning it.
Chelsea, I think you're nearly as confusing. I think Man United are more confusing, but how you draw to a team, that's got no manager on the sideline and 10 men. It's like I don't even know how they even got into the game. Like they legit allowed them to get into the game. They took Gallagher off. I understand that, Daoud. But then you see Sterling come on and whatever, and he had a howler.
Yeah,
but then they took off Caicedo as well.
But if you look at Chelsea, and they don't have that same fear factor. They don't have 2-3 players in the whole, not even their first 11, the whole squad that you think, they could play for majority of the teams in the Premier League. Cole Palmer is, hitting form right now, but it's one of those situations where Chelsea, every time they take the lead, it's like they let the opposition team have the ball and they let the opposition team attack them. They never play with aggression. They never play on the front foot. And I think it's just one of the situations where I think Chelsea are just in a form at the moment, the last 2 seasons, where they're just going with the vibes. It's just one of those ones where the manager is just there because he's not a controversial manager. He's not going to get the players and, question them. He makes excuses every match, just like Ten Hag. Ten Hag's blamed after the Brentford game. Ten Hag was talking about Man City gave Brentford a tougher game. Brentford, gave Man City a tougher game. And it's like, why you mention other games? Why are you not taking accountability? Pochettino and Ten Hag never take accountability. And this is what the difference between them and, for example, my manager, Arteta. I think Arteta, when we were, finishing 8th and when we lost the first 3 games of the season, 2 seasons ago, he was talking about, it's my fault, it's my responsibility, no one else. We're not looking at other teams. We're not making any excuses. I'm the manager. If we get worse and we don't perform, it's my fault. With Ten Hag, with Pochettino, it's always someone else's fault. It's always another reason. Or we're playing too many games. Or it's the referee's fault. We're not clearly
or looking at the data and saying that they should be 4th place, apparently.
Yeah, and it's like, was it against United? Was it when it was against Liverpool? Sorry, after you beat them in the FA Cup, Eric Ten Hag mentioned the Arsenal game that we should have lost that game at the Emirates when you guys lost 3-1. He mentioned
the bogey offside decision against Garnacho.
Yeah, but that happened in September. So why you mentioning something that happened in September? Is March now.
I think he's done out, man. I think both these managers are done.
But
I think the biggest.
Yeah.
Go on, David. Go on.
Now they don't know how to, articulate themselves in the media with Ten Hag and Pochettino. It's like they kind of get bullied by the media, and it's like when Gary Neville said about the £1 billion bottle jobs, Pochettino just let it slide. He didn't know what to say, and it's like these managers, they don't have enough authority. You've lost. Man United since Fergie have not had a manager that Mourinho was too toxic. And Oli and Ten Hag have been too, they've got no authority about them. Chelsea, when was the last time? Since Conte. They've had Graham Potter and Pochettino, who have kind of they've got no authority about them. So it's like Chelsea and Man United, until they upgrade on their manager, I don't think they're going to improve. I don't think Ten Hag and Pochettino,
to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I do believe things improve for us as a squad. I believe in a lot of our first team players, but the manager makes such a big difference to the team, positively and
Yeah.
negatively. And me and Kaz are both seeing that.
Yeah, you've got the squad. That lineup that you played should beat Burnley, and it's like
It shouldn't be
It's something-
11th, in all honesty.
yeah,
I just think that like with Poch, it's like I never saw this at Tottenham. By the way, he never used to throw the blame, and I think maybe because he was a bit, maybe just because the team was a bit better, and he'd feel more confident in his abilities, that he would actually take the blame for the losses and say, "Look, we should have done this different." But it's the amount of excuses that he used and he refers to, and then he'll be like, "Oh, but we're missing this players, but we needed this to happen. But if this happened, and like there's too much if buts and maybes from a manager or someone that actually has control of those games and has control of making the difference. He needs to look at within himself and be like, do you know what, boys? Look, this is on me. This week I should have done this. We should have done this different. And if he'd done that, I reckon he'd give a lot more confidence into the Chelsea players and they'd buy into his style a lot more. But the fact that like he throws the blame. And then also his training sessions are the problem that Chelsea have had so many injuries because it happened at every club he's been at.
Same thing with Ten Hag as well.
Literally, it's his training sessions that he overworks players to the point that they don't have energy. They're breaking down their bodies. They're young in the first place. When you're overworking young players, you're breaking down their bodies. They're coming back from injury. They're not ready. They're getting injured again. It's going to be a revolving cycle. So Poch needs to look more.
That's what worries me about the long term. Ruin these players now, they could be done in a couple years' time.
Yeah,
long-term project.
Long-term, especially for some of these
worst manager possible.
The thing is, though, with Poch, I think sacking him would be a short-term solution at the moment because whenever I watch Poch's interviews, I feel like he's not talking to the mainstream media. He's talking to Todd Bowley for a camera. So when he's not taking when he's passing responsibility on something else, he's literally talking to Bowley because he's so ridiculously clueless, Bowley, that if he takes responsibility for a loss, he'd probably think, "Oh, Bowley's going to sack me," because that's the way that he works. If I take responsibility for this,
you should be
it's
sacked.
my fault. Bye-bye. Bowley's going to get rid of me. And so the same thing.
So it sounds like he's just making excuses to protect his job.
The one thing I will say is I agree with JSM there because I feel like Poch, before you guys sack him, before you even go, because again, you could be in the same situation next year with a new manager. Like this, that's not the way to keep going, is trying to sack managers. You need to give managers time to see if they can work out. This summer, give Poch the players he wants. Give him some experienced heads and then see if he doesn't improve the team by December, that's when you look to sack him and say,
go into another season with him.
I'd say you have to.
You lost me.
Wait, Lewis, the reason you have to, because if you sack him, you do another start off with a new manager at the beginning of the year.
But we haven't even started. This is my problem.
You're back at the beginning if you sack
I know,
but we haven't gone anywhere.
Same cycle though, because
we haven't progressed anywhere. This is my thing. They say we go back to stage one. Where have we gone to?
Nah, I get that. But the reason why I'm saying go back is because you've already invested loads just into the project as a whole. So you feel like you need to let the project play out rather than bringing a manager who might
doesn't mean scrap the project. Scrap the guy in charge of it.
Yeah, Bowley.
Yeah, Bowley's going in a couple of years anyway.
I ain't going to sit here and do any...
He's not the majority owner, though. It's Clear Lake and Iqbali.
No, but he's the majority manager. I've heard he does more team talks in the dressing room than Poch does. And that's another reason why the players...
Nah. It was a little narrative from last season because he came in after the Brighton game and cooked Sterling. That's it. Owner goes into dressing room after game. Always happens. Roman used to do it all the time.
Not with Arsenal. I don't see the Cronkies going into the Arsenal dressing room.
Roman did it all the time with us. He'd be in the dressing room. He'd be going down to Cobham.
Yeah, because when you've got a new manager every single season, the players sometimes don't recognize the managers. That's why the owner needs to come in and speak with the players because they can recognize the owner. Sometimes they don't recognize the manager, so they need to have someone that they can relate to.
And then Minerals was saying, "I don't recognize my Chelsea. Where's my Chelsea?"
Minerals is still moaning about Mount being sold.
I know he when he saw Mount score. Even when he saw Mount score, and lost his absolute shit.
If he sees Mount score on Thursday, he'll probably celebrate.
He lost his shit when Kai Havertz was sold, and he still talks about Kai Havertz.
Yeah, because it's like, watch when he gets that. What's he call him? That Bergham region. It's like if he puts him in the right place, I'm like, no offense. Havertz played well in a good team at this moment of time, but he's not levels. Do you know what I mean? He's a good option, I suppose, in a version, but he's still
also will be in a title race with or without him.
No.
Yes, you would.
We wouldn't, because we don't have a guy. You guys talk about aerial duels. We don't have a striker that can win. Since Olivier Giroud, we haven't been able to play a different style of football. Before, it's like we can play out the back, but if we had to switch it up and play a long ball, we never had a striker.
If you had a proper Giroud type guy up front now, boy, yeah, that's dangerous. But
prime Giroud, but not as a main striker. If Giroud was alongside someone else,
hasn't had a prime, man. Let's not do this prime Giroud. He was shit at Arsenal, decent at Chelsea, and he's had like a good career.
Prime Giroud was France.
Literally, Montpellier league title. But
let's like put a bit of respect on the Kai Havertz.
Did he not win with AC as well?
Yeah, he has won a league of AC. He's won a few trophies, just not Arsenal.
He's not done too sad, to be fair, is he?
He's been all right.
No, but I'm telling you,
still more trophies than Harry Kane. You know what I mean?
Harry Kane's never catching him for the trophies. I think he's our highest goal scorer as well.
Yeah, he is.
Oh wait, David, what are you gonna say?
No, I'm telling you for sure, we were not going. We were 100% not going to win the league without Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz has been kind of a difference for us. Him, Rice, and Raya have been a massive upgrade on us challenge for the league title again. And it's like, if you even saw Kai Havertz yesterday, the amount of time went long, and he won that amount of headers that he won.
Yesterday wasn't.
You think it's the Champions League?
He's got more physical with you guys. That's the only real improvement I've seen.
He's got a lot
Champions League final minerals.
Champions League, we've got a massive chance with Kai Havertz. 1,000,000%.
Yeah, no, Kai Havertz in the Champions League is a bit better. But I mean, yesterday wasn't to blame. Erdegaard.
Give me City in the semi-final.
Transition ball don't suit you, man. I'll be real. You'd think it would, but it just doesn't.
It's weird. Their attackers. None of their attackers.
Yeah, that's unless you got Martinelli, I can understand it.
Martinelli, only him.
Maybe even a Reece Nelson in there. Maybe
Reece Nelson, Emil Smith-Rowe, Fabio Vieira. They're not upgraded. They're gone in the summer, I think. Yeah,
Fabio Vieira. That was a waste of money. That was. We'll talk about that soon, anyways. But big up to everyone that's here as well. Smash the like button on the way out as well. Big up to JSM for jumping on for the first time. Daoud as well, aka David. Obviously Jaws and Lewis. Their channels in the description below. But yeah, man, trying to build some chemistry. But yeah, in a bit we'll be back tomorrow midday. There's a lot of football to go on. To be fair, it's got like you're going to see a lot of me, Deji, and Josh panels because of Man United. Basically, a table for the race for.
You're not in top four. Stop saying there's you ain't. You even didn't want to say that yourself. You're in a race for Europa League, bro. Chill out.
When you both drop 12 points, you will know about it, innit? It's cool. It's fine.